record at the very beginning, and now I'm having a little bit of concern that it's not recording. No, it is, right? I can see the little blinking dot on my other screen. Sorry, Jesselyn, I definitely clicked it at the very beginning. It is, yes, it does look like it's recording.
Yep, I think you're good.
Okay, just
Doing
just
great.
just making sure. Just wanted to, because if we don't have that, then we have a problem. Okay. Let's move on. Sorry about that. Our next up is going to be Karis, and you will have 1 minute.
Okay, I would say also social media because we live in a time where everyone, I feel like everyone just has some sort of social media, whether it's like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. Um, and then also maybe like hosting a Q&A for people who are interested in like how the government works, just because I feel like, at least me personally, I didn't really know about this until I actually found this through social media, through the flyer, this position. Um, so yeah, also hosting a Q&A I think would help. And then to amplify underrepresented voices, um, I feel like just talking to people one-on-one, especially the youth, since that's what my position is targeted towards. And I feel like people, since I'm like their age, they would relate to me more and like feel more comfortable than talking to like an adult.
All right, thank you so much. All right, next up, we are going to hear from Anna G. You will have 60 seconds whenever you're ready.
So for the first question of how I would reach constituents who are not too familiar with how government works, I already do that on the daily when I go to bars or events by myself. I usually just, it's always a topic that comes up on how, especially in the area, how I'm already involved with Palm Council. And I start off with just talking to them of what they like about the area or what they want to work on. And I usually have, being on the board already, I have a small idea of how the back end process works. And usually that's how they get more interested in knowing more information. That's when they follow us on social media. And what's great is since my position is people's taxpayer money, they always want to hear about where it goes. And that usually catches their attention. And that is one of the couple things that I do.
All right, thank you so much, Anna. We will move on to Kay. Go ahead, Kay, you'll have 1 minute.
Hi, yeah. So I actually think this is a really kind of a big problem that people don't know. And I think the biggest confusion happens between what the city does and what the county does. And one of the things I've advocated for, but haven't been able to make happen yet, is to have some sort of event, a mixer, where we would have like a representative from the county, a representative from the city, representatives from the neighborhood council, and have like poster boards up, like this is what the county does, this is what the city does. It's just a way to push the information out. I do want to say that at Community Day, we have many representatives from many different parts of the city and county government. So that makes those people available for people who attend to be able to talk to directly. I also invite politicians themselves to come and walk around and talk to the people who are there. So that's a way of providing more accessibility to elected officials. And
All right. Thank you, Kay. Sorry, that minute goes by really fast. All right, next up, we will hear from Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff, whenever you're ready.
Hi, I think I'll answer the second question first. I think that the neighborhood council, just reading the history, a generation ago, it was a newfangled thing, and it got written into the city charter. Um, a lot was happening in the late 90s to cause such a furor that the city of Los Angeles actually did something like this, and brought up a neighborhood council. Um, but we still have 15 city council districts and city council members, and it's been like that for decades and decades and decades. And the city is 4 million people. Like I said, Palms is 44,000 people. The idea that um, 15 people can represent that many constituents effectively is not good. So I want to really amplify the neighborhood council system to everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Jeff. Last up, we will hear from Anna S. So go ahead, Anna, whenever you're ready.
Hey, yeah, so first and foremost, I have to admit that even I don't know that much about how city government works yet. So I think the first thing I would do is obviously get involved and learn more so that I can uh, speak out about it. And another thing I would definitely do is um, try and plan some events around the neighborhood. That's how I originally found out about the neighborhood council. I went to one of the Palms Social Club uh, happy hours, and yeah, I met some of the people that are volunteering in committees there. And yeah, I started learning more about it from them, and I think that's a really effective way to get the word out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I get the feeling that we could all kind of talk about this same question for probably another hour easily. So, but a lot of great ideas that I'm hearing. Let's move on to our third question. So this one is give an example of a successful neighborhood council or other local initiative that you'd like to replicate or adapt for Palms. And for this one, we will have 60 seconds again. And this one, we will start with Ella. So whenever you're ready. Ella, whenever you're ready. I see that she is unmuted, but I can't hear her.
Think she might be frozen because
Uh-oh.
her eyes aren't blinking.
Okay. So I'm not the most knowledgeable about other neighborhood, but what I've seen, I've heard that the Venice neighborhood council is very successful, and I don't know a lot about what.
I think Ella, I think you were breaking up on that. I don't know. We were only getting every other word of that. If you want to give it another try.
Can you hear me now?
I think so. Okay, let's give that another try. I'll start the timer again.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so sorry, I was saying that I'm not like knowledgeable about other neighborhood councils, but I've heard that the Venice Neighborhood Council has good initiatives. I don't know a lot about it, but hopefully we can implement something similar because I've heard from people in Venice that they have like a very good
neighborhood government. So I don't know a lot though, but hopefully something similar could be like beneficial.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next up will be Karis. So go ahead, Karis, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so at my school, there's a lot of like service projects. So there was this one club that's called CRS, Catholic Relief Services, and they hosted like a cleanup, or they will be hosting a cleanup at a certain like retreat center that was affected by the fires. And that was um, I think that was really interesting. And then another thing that they did that was super successful was that they packed like food for like a food bank, or for people who like are less benefited and need help. So I think those are good examples that we want to replicate at Palms.
All right. Thank you for that. Next up will be Anna G.
Other local initiatives that Palms neighborhood has is, as I mentioned before, is the Palms social group. I think being able to collaborate with them more and seeing how much they have reached out to many people in the area and how many people come to these events is really something that we should definitely learn a little bit more on how they were able to have this consistency, especially with their events that are done almost every other week. That would be a good plan to slowly start adapting, especially if in the outreach team. As for other neighborhood councils, again, I am also not too familiar specific councils and details, but I know usually our president has a great connection with these councils, and we usually get ideas from them as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, next up will be Kay. You will have 60 seconds whenever you're ready.
Okay, yeah. I think that there's a lot of great work that's happening in the neighborhood council system overall. I'm really proud of what we do in Palms itself. I think that a lot of other neighborhood councils can also learn from us. But I look at Mar Vista and I see that when they have an opening, they have like a lineup of people who want it. How how they accomplish that, I don't know, but I mean, it'd be great for us because we usually, when we get an opening, have to beg. I can look at the Reseda Neighborhood Council. They have a really great policy team. As it is, I work with the president from that neighborhood council on letters and community impact statements. They're able to go really deep in a way that is really impressive. And I could look at Mid City Neighborhood Council, who finds a way to get free outreach by attaching themselves to other events that happen in their area and just showing up and tabling. So those were some ideas.
All right. Thank you, Kay. Next up will be Jeff. You'll have 1 minute whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take this in a slightly different direction. So Measure HLA passed last year, just about a year ago, and that's a local initiative that was passed by over 60% of Los Angeles County residents, and have really not seen a lot of movement there. So I would love to have Palms taking the lead in ensuring that the new law is enforced, that there's coordination between the various um, city departments and groups that are involved in this, and make sure that we're making Palms again as accessible as possible. We have a nexus of rail, bike, train, or sorry, not train, bike, pedestrian, and bus lanes, and we should be using them effectively.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Next up, we will hear from Anna S.
Hey, so one pretty easy thing to replicate is a sort of street cleanup day, which is something that I recently did with Safe Streets for LA. I'm sure eventually they will already do it in Palms, but I think it's something that can be done often, and yeah, it just keeps a nicer yeah, neighborhood for us all to live in. And then also, one other thing that I had thought of is some sort of art contest. I saw this mural that recently went up in Culver City, and it just having local artists contribute to the community really brightens up our neighborhood up, and yeah, I think gets more people involved as well. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. And then last up for this question, we will have Luke. So go ahead, Luke, you will have 1 minute.
Yes, thanks, Helen. One thing that I heard that was very successful for some of my friends who live in Venice: personal financial management. I mean, how many people are really comfortable with managing their own money for retirement, understanding the stock market? They brought in a bunch of educators, they brought in some city resources. You don't need to have $1 million to know what to do with your money. It's something that I personally did in a former life as a financial advisor, and I think it would be incredibly beneficial. Secondly, I think that people need to know intimately what their rights are as renters and homeowners. And I feel like there's still too much Googling and searching around and wondering what your rights are that really inhibit people from standing up to their apartment communities or to landlords who try to jack up rents. So those are just two educational initiatives that I think would be really successful.
All right. Thank you so much, Luke. Heard a lot of great ideas. I know Jesselyn and I heard community cleanup, and as we were once upon a time the co-chairs of the Green Committee, so I always love to hear about the cleanup ideas. It's not everybody wants to get out in the neighborhood and pick up trash, so but heard a lot of great ideas across the board there. Let's hop on to question number 4. So in this question, we want to find out, how do you plan to foster collaboration between the Palms Neighborhood Council and other entities like neighboring neighborhood councils, city agencies, community groups, schools, school groups, businesses, etc. And this is definitely one where, we've got folks representing kind of a bunch of different groups and entities on this Zoom. So I'd love to hear how this applies to you and your position. And everybody will have 60 seconds to respond to this one again. And we will be starting this time with Karis. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. I think first, like, just attending like other neighborhood council meetings and just I guess getting my face familiar with them and just introducing myself, saying, hey, I'm part of like the Palms Neighborhood Council. Just want to introduce myself. And then with like other entities like schools and businesses, again, just also maybe meeting them in person or sending them an email just saying, hey, like part of the Palms Neighborhood Council, if you need anything, I would be like glad to help and collaborate, with the other neighborhood councils and help out. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Next up, we will have Anna G. So go ahead, Anna, whenever you're ready.
Alrighty. One thing that I definitely agree with is just having more of a familiar face and presence at other neighborhood councils, perhaps join other of their GA meetings or even outreach. That was a great way to get involved with them or start fostering a relationship. As for community groups, we can collaborate with different entities such as the Palms, Christ, location, there's a lot of people who attend these events or attend these organizations, and especially a lot of them are Spanish speaking individuals. And these are the community groups that have a large presence in Palms, and being able to make sure that we collaborate with them is definitely something that I plan to do.
All right. Thank you so much. Next up, we will hear from Kay. Go ahead, Kay, whenever you're ready.
Hi, okay. So, yeah, so for fostering collaboration, there are citywide and regional neighborhood council groups where neighborhood councils get together and compare what's going on and work together. Some of these include the Budget Advocates, of which I am a member. There is the West Side Regional Alliance of Councils, in which we have people who represent us there. There's the Los Angeles Neighborhood Council Coalition, which I participate in, and there's Plan Check NC. There's also things like going to the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners meetings, which I do. And it's a place where you make connections with the city attorney, you make connections with the commissioners, you make all sorts of connections, and other neighborhood councils. We are trying to reach out more to the schools. We're creating this new committee that's been mentioned a few times. That's education, youth, community.
Great. Thank you, Kay. Next up, we will hear from Jeff. So go ahead, Jeff. You will have 1 minute.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I think a large part of this is just doing the legwork. I mean, a lot of great, not just ideas, but activities that are already in place for fostering collaboration, clearly there. But a part of the conversation when I was first being brought on as the CBO rep late 2024 was that we don't even really know the organizations that reside in Palms because there are so many of them. And so a large part of this is just doing the legwork and getting a contact list out and making sure that we're building those relationships. Like Luke said, going and talking to business owners and community representatives of all sorts is just a really basic part of this. And then, yeah, spreading out that focus further from Palms to the neighboring communities. Definitely important.
All right. Thank you, Luke. And sorry for the brief interruption of my cat Puma, who was a famous participant in neighborhood council meetings during the pandemic. She is in the hallway now, so she won't hopefully bother us. All right. Next up, we will hear from Anna S. Go ahead, Anna.
Hey, so again, I think the Palm Social Club is a really good community group to collaborate with, since, as the other Anna mentioned, there are so many people in there, and I think it can help us get more people involved. And yeah, I'm part of some other groups like Bike Culver City, and that's also a really nice community. So yeah, like, yeah, just as Jeff said, also just having kind of a more concentrated list of all of the different things that are going on maybe can help people get more involved and joining different events around the community.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna. Next up, we will hear from Luke. You will have 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. So what is collaboration? I mean, collaboration is two groups, more than two groups, who have goals that are in alignment. And when I speak to these local business owners and I ask them what they think about the Palms Neighborhood Council, they don't have an opinion. They often don't even know it exists. And so we have to have something to provide them in order for us to have a basis for collaboration. There's a number of ways to do that. I think as president, one of the first things is to just get them to the council meetings. So effectively streamline these council meetings, provide adequate space for them to share their concerns, and bring them up in the form of measures and programming that actually impact them. I think there's a lot of streamlining that we can do to these meetings to make them a lot more enticing to business owners.
Great. Thank you so much, Luke. Ella, you will be the last to answer this question. You'll have 1 minute whenever you're ready.
So an example of something that we could do in a collaboration would be with the Girls Play LA, which is like a soccer thing for like youth, obviously for girls, but it can get more like people involved, and hopefully youth are able to connect with each other, you know. And regarding schools, like the neighborhood council hopefully could do visits at schools to like educate students on what local government looks like, and hopefully how they could become involved in it and maybe make them more interested in it. This is in order to like maybe come to block parties so that we could raise awareness for council and businesses, like to promote maybe smaller businesses.
Okay, thank you so much, Ella. All right. So this will question number 5. This is going to be our last question. But then after this, we will have some time for closing statements. So question number 5. And I think, it's funny when we wrote this question, and this is, the committee put together these questions, 2030 sounds like it's a long way off, but it was, just thinking about it today, and that's really only 5 years away. So maybe we should have picked a date a little bit further into the future. But in any case, the question is, imagine it's 2030. What does your ideal Palms look like? And how would you use your term, which this will be a 2-year term, how would you use your term to work towards that vision? This will be another 60-second question, and we will be starting with Anna G this time. So Anna, whenever you are ready, go ahead.
Yes. Alrighty. In 5 years, what would my ideal Palms look like? I think it really starts with just the atmosphere Palms has, which is the safer streets, both safe for the drivers, the pedestrians, and the bikers, and have more of this community-based feeling that the Palms neighborhood should have. And in my term, the best way I could work towards that vision is just continue to be involved, just like I'm rerunning again, just because I have now more experience and now I know what needs to get done and how to organize everything better for the back end finances, and just being there as a support system for these committees and help serve the people in Palms.
All right. Thank you so much. Next up, we will hear from Kay. Go ahead, Kay, whenever you're ready.
So my ideal Palms in 5 years would be more lush. It would be more green. We would have more trees. We would have more parks. We would have more open space. We would have more businesses that would allow you to do all your shopping in Palms and not have to leave Palms to do your businesses. I've been working with the city planning department to try to change some of the zoning on Venice Boulevard so that we can have a city Target. I mean, that would be, I think, a huge benefit to us. Not to ignore the small businesses, they're equally important and they need to be protected in these times of developments with all these buildings getting torn down. And I've been working very hard on, like I said, on the parks, on the deforestation. I've got several ideas. I've got funding identified. I've got locations identified. We can do this.
All right. Thank you, Kay. Next up is Jeff. You'll have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks. So overall, I'd love to be able to walk down Venice, hook a right on Overland, and then look to the left and right on Palms, and hopefully see something similar on each of those major streets where, there's bus lanes, bike lanes, ball, walkouts so that people can cross the street effectively, and businesses lining the shops, hopefully street vendors along the way, just a vibrant, full cityscape. I think Palms is always just right there as an example, honestly, for a lot of the rest of the city as to what could be done right already in city planning and urban planning. I'd just like to see more of it. I think there's so much potential, and Palms is so diverse. It's relatively affordable for Los Angeles, and we just need more of it. And I'm excited.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeff. Next up, we will hear from Anna S. Anna, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Hey, so not to sound repetitive after Jeff and Kay went, but I think one thing I do really miss here in Palms is parks. So I'd be really excited to support that measure. And then also, yes, street calming in general. I think Palms is very walkable when compared to a lot of the other places in the United States, but there's still definitely work to be done. So, yeah, just crosswalks, more crosswalks, and yeah, also cleaning up Venice Boulevard and the areas next to Palms. Um, and yeah, just supporting all kinds of general beautification measures of the neighborhood. So yeah, I've almost out of time, so I'll stop.
Sorry, I apologize. I paused it because I thought you were finished, but but you have 5 more seconds if you like.
That's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Been trying to be really on top of it with the timer here. All right. Next up, we will hear from Luke. You will have 1 minute.
Thanks, Ellen. Honestly, my ideal Palms is each of you still living here. All of my friends, all the people who I've made connections with while living here, them staying here until 2030. All the businesses, the small shops I like to go to, I want to see them here in 2030. We're going to have the Olympics coming in 2028. I don't want that to come and go and leave Palms in the dust. I want any sort of value or boost to the local community that brings to stick around through 2030. In 2030, I want streets without cracks. I want people who need help, who are on the streets, to get that help. I want us to have more compassion in the community. But then when there are some things happening with graffiti or there's some lawlessness going on, people know who to call and where to go, and they have confidence that they'll be helped quickly.
All right. Thank you so much, Luke. Next up, we will hear from Ella. Whenever you are ready, go ahead, Ella.
So I don't know if you're familiar with 15-minute cities, but this is an initiative which is being in the upcoming years for LA. So what you can expect with this is more sustainable and green environment with increased accessibility in terms of getting like necessary resources within our neighborhood, as well as increase.
Oh, I think you muted partway through, Ella. Oh, here, I'm going to pause it for a second. I think we missed the tail end of that.
Did you hear it?
I think you were cutting out a little bit, so I think we heard maybe the first 30 seconds worth. If you want to just finish your thought, I can let me see, I can just put 30 seconds back on the timer here. Okay,
Do
yeah,
you
just go ahead and
know
finish
where
that.
I left off?
I don't, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. So what can be expected with the 15-minute cities is more sustainable and green environment necessities within our neighborhood, as well as increased transit and decreased traffic. So ideally, Palms would be more vibrant and efficient.
Okay, thank you. I think we heard it that time. All right, and then last up, we will hear from Karis. Go ahead, you will have 1 minute.
Okay, I would say, I know a lot of people said this before, but safer streets. So I don't know, it feels a little more safe to just go on a walk, especially like when I walk my dog. Another thing is like more parks, I feel like should be created. And then also having like better funded education or especially like the Palms Elementary and Middle School. I think that's super important because everyone deserves, or like, I feel like, yeah, all like youth deserve to have like the best chance that they can for their future. Um, and then also just advocate for like more youth participation in the government because I feel like not many do because they seem like the government is intimidating, but once you learn more about it, then I feel like they'll like it.
All right. Thank you so much, Karis. We are going to move into some closing statements. I believe this is yep, that is our last slide, just making sure. So we're going to move to closing statements. Before we do that, I just wanted to say, you know, I know a lot of the candidates had a lot more to share than what they shared with us today. And we would encourage the attendees and anybody listening after this to go ahead and attend the meet and greet, which is going to be on March 5th, and that again at 6 p.m. in that hour before the regular neighborhood council meeting takes place. We're going to have some snacks for you during that time, so it should be a pretty just casual, informal chance to get to show up and you know, shake your candidates' hands, ask them questions that you might have, anything that they brought up that you want to hear more about. And I know that in past years, I know that they've done some audience questions as part of these. We didn't do that this time just because of the city's guidelines that all the questions should be submitted in advance and put together in advance and carefully kind of curated by the committee. So sorry about that. We're trying to follow the letter of the law from the city, but you will have a chance to meet the candidates and ask them your questions in that session. So with that, we will do 30-second closing statements for all of the candidates. I'm going to adjust my timer to be 30 seconds before we get started. And there we go. Okay, and for the closing statements, we will go ahead and start with Kay. Also, I just wanted to note, if you do want to let the audience know how to reach you, feel free to do that, but please don't share any personal information like home addresses or things like that, as this will be posted publicly. So just a reminder about that. So all right, with that, we will go ahead and get started with Kay whenever you are ready.
Thank you for your interest in the Palms Neighborhood Council election. The role of president involves a lot of administrative work. One thing I've been able to do during this term is to increase transparency. I have ideas to increase it more. Please vote for me and allow me to continue this work. I'm making progress on some of the open space ideas I'm working on. I'd love to be able to deliver at least one park or plaza to the community. And please visit shorter.me/K, the number 4 Palms.
All right. Thank you so much, Kay. Next up, we'll hear from Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff, whenever you're ready.
Great. So, I'm really excited to continue representing Palms as the community-based organization representative. I've been working in this position already for several months. I jumped in because there was a vacancy, and I think what Kay mentioned earlier is it's a shame that we have vacancies that are tough to fill, and I hope that even if you're watching this and not an elected official or running, continue to look out for open positions.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeff. Next up, we'll hear a closing statement from Anna S. Anna, whenever you're ready.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for listening tonight. And I'm looking so forward to being Secretary of Palms Neighborhood Council and working towards safer streets, and as also some beautification measures and connecting the Palms Social Club and other community organizations. And thank you, can't wait.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna. All right, next up, we will hear from Luke. Go ahead, Luke, whenever you're ready.
Thanks a lot, Helen. Thanks a lot, Kay. Thanks a lot, everyone, for your time. I'm Luke. I'm running for president. As I said, I'm a veteran. The reason why I'm running for president is because I have a passion for service, and I've got a real passion for service for the community where I live. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to reach out to me, don't make fun of my handle. It's _______ ELJAY, and then ___________. So it's 5 underscores bracketing ELJY on Instagram. I didn't want to put numbers or anything. That was my workaround for it. So hopefully you guys got that. Reach out to me on Instagram and vote for Luke. Palms together.
All right, thanks. Thanks so much, Luke. You may want to add that to your title and your name to make that a little easier.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea. Yeah.
All right. Next up, we will hear from Ella. You will have 30 seconds.
Ultimately, my goal is to foster a stronger community for the youth of Palms through service projects and activity. Please keep my values in mind as you fill out the ballot, and thank you for your consideration.
All right. Thank you so much, Ella. Next up, we will have Karis. Go ahead, Karis, whenever you're ready. You will have 30 seconds.
Thank you for listening. With my experience, I will work hard to ensure that the youth in our community will be benefited. And with my experience so far, I really enjoyed working on the neighborhood council and working closely, working with the school. And so I humbly ask and thank you for your support.
All right. Thank you so much, Karis. And then last up for the closing statements, we will hear from Anna G.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. My name is Ana Garcia Lima, and I am rerunning for treasurer this year. Thank you so much for starting your first steps and getting involved with the Palms Neighborhood Council. It starts somewhere, either from voting, and we just hope that you continue to get involved either through committees or other events. But with my experience that I've already had and what I've learned, I definitely want to continue like here.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna, and thank you to all the candidates again. It is definitely not easy to put your name out there and to get on Zoom and answer a bunch of questions that you haven't heard in advance. So, really appreciate you all taking the time. I wanted to flip back to this slide just one more time, remind everybody to go to our website, get the information. Please make sure you register to vote. I actually just got my ballot in the mail today. I'm really excited about that. So they should be coming out really soon. If you haven't gotten yours yet, hopefully it'll be coming through soon. And then again, we will look forward to seeing everybody at the Meet the Candidates event at 6 p.m. on March 5th before the General Assembly meeting. And with that, I will stop the screen share. And we will officially adjourn at 7:48 p.m.
Just a quick question. Can I take a picture for our social media? If everyone could get on camera for a quick second, if that's okay.
I think that's okay, as long as everybody consents to it. If you don't consent to it, feel free to turn your camera off.
And then
It can't be for Palm social media, right? Like your neighborhood council social media. It's your own personal.
Correct.
Right? Got
It
it.
has to be your own personal, and it can't have the Palms Neighborhood Council logo anywhere on it. And we are officially adjourned. So, but yeah, as long as everybody's comfortable with that.
Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate to put it on the neighborhood council.
Oh, okay. So then I just posted something telling everyone to come to the meet for the forum today.
Okay.
Not sure, Kay, if you could take a look at it and just let me know if that's fine. It
What
doesn't.
did you post it on?
This is what I put.
I don't know where you posted it. I'm just asking you, like, is it on Instagram? Is it on Facebook?
Yeah, it's on Instagram. Yeah, you can't really see you can't see anyone's name. It just says join the candidate forum live now.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
For safety, maybe defer to the elections committee to do any outreach in the future so you're not breaking any laws.
Okay, yeah, I'm part of outreach too in general, so just
Yeah, but
helping out.
right, but the elections committee is focused on the election law.
Gotcha.
So-
Okay. So I will let that team know in advance.
I didn't
No
see
learning.
it. Yeah, I didn't see it, so I can't speak to whether or not it's okay. I know that our outreach committee has been posting things on the Palms Neighborhood Council social media. So there's a fine line between them doing that and posting like the events and things coming up, and you posting, or any of the candidates posting like vote for me with the Palms Neighborhood Council logo.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, in general, getting the word out is very helpful, and we need people to sign up to vote. So all for that, for sure.
But it sounds like it's fine, Anna.
It sounds like it's probably fine. Yeah.
Great job,
How many people?
everybody.
All right.
How many people do we have
thanks, everybody.
registered to vote?
I'm gonna